for these small firms, they're price takers. Where's my thing? Okay. Okay. Under perfect competition, I assume that your demand curve looks like this. It's perfectly flat, which means it's perfectly elastic. Okay? Which means what happens if you raise your price even a little bit? What happens to your sales? Okay, they go to 0. Okay? And the reason they go to 0 is because of assumptions 4 and 5, which means I can quickly observe that you raise your price or somebody lowered their price, and it's easy for me to switch. So what this looks like is they have this perfectly flat demand curve. They can sell, because they're such small firms in a big pond, they can sell all of their output at this price and not change price. And so this seems counterintuitive to students, but what they end up doing is we're ending up solving for their quantity. So I assume that at some point they're gonna start running into these increasing marginal costs. And so they're gonna keep producing up until their marginal cost crosses whatever the prevailing market price is, and that's where they'll stop. Okay? What's next on that? You are price takers when you sell. How many of you have sold a book on Amazon? How did you set your price? Yeah, you looked at what everyone else is selling and you made it a penny cheaper. So you were essentially a price taker at that point. Okay? The monopolist, okay, the other thing that is weird for students is normally I think of a firm as setting the price, but here we're going to be thinking about the firm setting its quantity. And so you're often going to be solving for Q. So what's the profit maximizing quantity given their cost structure and what the prevailing price is? For the monopolist, they have a downward facing or downward sloping demand function because their demand function is the industry function, right? Because they're the only firm. So if they want to sell one more, they have to lower the price. And I'll show you what that means in just a second. So to solve, I'm going to give you a couple examples. You're going to work a couple problems. But to solve these type of problems, where I'm going to give you some conditions for the firm under perfect competition versus a monopolist, there's sort of a set of steps you're going to follow. So step one is you're usually solving for quantity. That's like the first thing you're going to do. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to set marginal revenue equal to marginal cost and solve for quantity. Okay? And as soon as you hear the word marginal, you're going to say, oh, that may be taking the derivative of something. So marginal cost means you're taking the derivative of the cost function. And marginal revenue means I'm taking the derivative of the revenue function. Okay. Now, under perfect competition, marginal revenue equals price. So you're going to set price equal to marginal cost and solve. Okay. For the monopolist, what you're going to do is, sorry, I've got a picture of the board from my 8 a.m. class that we're going to post. So I'm just trying to match that. Okay, so you're going to, you've got to convert the demand function to the revenue function. So this is an FCN, it stands for function. Okay, and then you're going to set marginal revenue equal to marginal cost, remembering that marginal revenue is the derivative of the revenue function. Okay, so this one, sorry, no, I'm getting so emotional about this. In this one, price is the, I give you the prevailing price, and so you're just going to end up setting price equal to marginal cost, and then you can figure out quantity, and revenue and profit, if any. And under the monopolist, you actually have to use its demand function to come up with a revenue function and then take the derivative of that. Okay? Does everyone have these steps down? Okay. So, ready to jump into some math? All right. So, so in this example, you've got this cost function, 125 plus 4q squared. Okay, so you're going to determine the quantity, so their output, their price, and then their profit under two conditions. One is they are a price taker, so they're in a competitive market, and other firms are charging $40 a unit. Or they are a monopolist, and the inverse demand for their function is price equal 100 minus Q. Okay, so with your neighbor, go ahead and solve those two for those two instances. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pause and